So push it. Push reset.
I've been in marketing since I left college at 24, and I've loved every minute of it, and I love being part of this industry. So anything I can give you, tips of the trade that will help you along the journey, would be amazing for me. The prerequisite to what I'm going to talk about today is I'm not going to teach you about how to be a great marketeer. And I'm going to assume that all the things that you do in your daily job are deeply rooted in insight. One of the biggest things I find that's lacking in the marketing community today is that people think comms is the be-all and end-all. And actually, the way you communicate is important with your creative and all the stuff. Sorry, agencies, if you're in here. But actually, fundamentally, if you don't get a proposition right, you shouldn't be going out in the market and talking about it, because you're just wasting your company's money. And that's a fact. So stop throwing messages out into the market just because you think you're colouring in the right book and you're doing your job. You're not. So, what have I learned? The first thing I've learned is to have a great boss. Actually, can I just grab some water? My jet lag has just dried up my mouth. Thank you. You've got to have a great boss. Most people will tell you to have a great team. It goes without saying, employ people who are after your job, because if they're great, you'll be great as well. But actually, if you don't have a great boss, it makes your job very difficult indeed. And I don't mean a great boss in the sense that they just give you away all the time. I mean, they challenge you. They make you work much harder to get your budget off them. They make you fight for budgets when they want to cut all your budgets. But actually, they make you work really hard to deliver great marketing messages into the market. And I want to tell you about one of my favorite bosses. Her name is Sally Cowdery. And I worked with her for 12 years. She was a fantastic, very challenging, very loud-mouthed cowbag at most times. You had no misunderstanding of her opinion on anything. But we got on incredibly well because we were like-minded people. And actually, she was on the phone this morning to one of my friends in the audience, and she didn't even send me a good luck text. So, well, I like dogs, but it's not really that self-serving. Actually, at the time, the UK was going through sort of 6 years of recession. We were a miserable bunch. Everything about the UK was glass half full, and it wasn't a great place to be. And I felt that as a brand, we had an opportunity to start cheering people up. And I thought that it would do a job that nobody else was doing. And this is the ad.
I used to be a cat. Every day the same. I'd be aloof till lunch, then coldly indifferent after. To me, everything was just, yeah. Then it hit me. Why be so cat? Why not be a bit more dog? I mean, look at the world today. It's amazing. Running, amazing. Chasing cars, amazing. Sticks, amazing. Carpe diem. It means grab the frisbee. Maybe we should all be a bit more dog.
Be more dog. Start now at bemoredog.com. O2.
I'm glad that cheered you up, because it actually cheered the whole country up. And when I say have a great boss, well, she hated the creative because she's not a dog lover or a cat lover. It was personal to her. She let me do this because I thought I knew I had the right insight for the country. And this ended up being one of the most successful campaigns the UK has ever seen. We had kids writing letters to us telling us that they were more dog on a Tuesday than they were on a Wednesday. I had lecturers from Cambridge University telling me carpe diem doesn't mean catch the frisbee, which I thought was really nice of them to waste their time doing that. Education's great in Britain. Anyway, no problems there. So when I tell all of you to have a great boss, it's somebody who challenges you, but somebody who trusts you implicitly as a marketeer to put the right messages out into the market and really embrace what customers are feeling so that your brand can become more valuable. Now I'm going to talk to you about the O2, and I've actually had many conversations with quite a lot of companies about the O2 back in the day. For those of you who don't know about the O2, it's the best music venue in the world today. It was originally called the Dome, and it was known as the Dome of Doom. It was a building that the government had built for over a 10-year period, and it was there to celebrate the millennium. So the taxpayers paid for it, basically. Their opening night, it absolutely flopped. The country hated it. The press got wet, nobody had umbrellas, and the press slated it as an absolute waste of money that the government had invested in. Roll forward 5 years, it was up for sale, the government needed to get rid of it, and a company called AEG Entertainment bought it. A big live performance company owned by Phil Anschutz in the US. I think he bought it for £1. With a revenue share when it started to make money. And his dream was to make it into a music venue in London. Actually, a guy called Paul Samuels from O2 spotted it as an opportunity for sponsorship. And my role in this was to create an asset that really benefited customers. And that's when priority moments came in. Priority tickets. What we realized quite quickly about music was that when you wanted to see your favorite band, you had to get the ticket before they sold out. So I went out to the industry and really tried to understand their model. And their model basically was, if an artist's not on tour, they're not making money, so more artists were going out on tour. The biggest cost to an artist when they're on tour is the marketing to sell tickets. So I thought, well, if I can sell the tickets, I can take marketing cost out of their model, and if I can get the tickets before anybody else, O2 customers benefit. So in this instance, the sponsorship was a win-win-win. The only problem with that was we'd never actually sold a concert ticket to a customer. And actually, we couldn't really sell mobiles to customers, which is why we spend millions of pounds advertising price deals. But we thought we'd have a go. The first pre-sale was the Rolling Stones, and they hadn't been on tour for many years, and they looked like they hadn't been on tour for many years, actually. We had to do a lot of touching up for the creative to go out. And I was at Heathrow Airport, and my CEO at the time, Matthew, I said to him, we've got to do the pre-sale tomorrow, Matthew. And he went, yeah, but you said we can sell tickets. And I thought, what I said and what we do is a completely different matter, but anyway, hey-ho. I said, look, we're going out to 300,000 customers, we've got to sell 2,000 tickets. I think we need to go out to 5 million. And he went, why? I said, because I'm not sure we can sell a ticket. Anyway, we did go out to 5 million, and we did sell our 2,000, and that was the start of something great for us. And we carried on for a 4-year period, and then we started to really bring the live music scene to life. And we started doing walk ads. I don't know if any of you have seen them, but I'm going to show you 2 now. The first one is the very first walk ad we did, and it was with Dave Grohl and the Foo Fighters. And what had happened was we became so good at selling tickets to customers that we actually got priority tickets for every venue in the UK, and this is the Milton Keynes Bowl, so you'll think, what is she talking about? We actually got really a lot of other venues out of being able to sell tickets so well. And Dave Grohl really wanted to do this. We didn't pay him a penny, and we didn't pay any artist a penny for these ads. And he said, okay, well, we'll shoot on the weekend. We didn't have any money to go over there, so we just got a cameraman to do it and a script. We didn't have a venue, so his manager lent us his house. And the whole point is he walks through the house and he goes to the garage, which is where he wrote the album for the tour he was doing. We sold out of those tickets in 10 minutes, and we went on to do about 20 different artists, and we never, ever paid the artist a penny. And then we came across Beyonce. And we really wanted to do an ad with her. And she would normally cost millions. In fact, at the time, she was doing the Super Bowl for Pepsi, and I think they'd paid her something like $20 million. So we approached her and said, look, we really want to do this ad. We'll sell all 10 nights for you. Will you do it? And she did. So we had a nationwide tour. We sold every single night to O2 customers. She had to do 2 more for general release. And it was the most expensive ad O2 ever produced. It cost £750,000. And then we resold her the creative back for £400,000, and she used it for her world tour. So and it's all about understanding the models that you can make everybody win. It's not about getting one up on somebody. But being brave in marketing today is more important than ever, and I think this is one of the moments when O2 was at its very bravest. So I would say to all of you, be brave, and then be brave again and again and again, and keep pushing it. Once you've got something that's great, keep going with it. Don't give up. And every good marketeer should also be scared. Be scared, but be prepared. And so I want to talk to you about the iPhone. Just after the O2 did its first launch, the O2, the venue, we were approached to go and talk to the guys in Cupertino about the iPhone exclusive. The UK was going to be the second country where the iPhone launched, and Vodafone had pretty much got the deal. But Charles Dunstan, who owns the Carphone warehouse in the UK, happened to be over in Cupertino, and he mentioned to the Apple senior team, why don't you talk to O2? They're much more akin to your brand than Vodafone. Sorry, Vodafone, if you're in here. And Matthew, my CEO again, and Cesar Elieto, who owned Telefonica, flew over on a secret meeting, which nobody knew about, and had discussions about us taking the exclusive. Lo and behold, a few days later, they came back, and we were put on a secret project. There was 5 of us, who then had to visualize what the iPhone looked like in an exclusive market and a non-exclusive market. And my job was to show the price being slashed and slaughtered in windows of other cheap mobile operators. And we got the deal. It was signed and sealed exactly 7 days later. And part of the commercial deal was that a marketing pot was created by both parties, so O2 and Apple, a joint-funded marketing pot to launch the iPhone. And that money had to come out of my budget. And it was a lot of money. So I'm a little bit miserable that Apple are going to nick my marketing money. And I happened to say to Matthew, when you go over and talk to Cupertino about the launch campaign, can you get half the money in our blue grad? Slang word, graduation, blue graduation, in our world, not in Apple's world. And he said, why don't you come over and do that yourself? So I thought, right, okay, that's going to be a good one. And I pulled together this presentation on why I felt half of the money should go on our branding, and Apple could have TV, but we would take all the traditional marketing. And I didn't realize at the time, but we're actually going to have to present this to Steve Jobs himself and the executive team. And I actually thought I was going to crap myself at that point. And we secretly, because nobody knew we were launching this phone. We hadn't even seen the thing. We knew it was going to change the world, but we had no idea why, because we hadn't even seen what it looked like. It wasn't going to show us. I kept saying to Matthew, sure it's going to change the world? He said, it's going to change the world, Shadi, now crack on. And we're on the plane, and I'm waltzing up and down the plane, pretending to, do my rehearsals and everything. And we get to Cupertino, and we're all under false names, false companies. Nobody can know who we are or where we're from. That's the way they work. We meet some of the executive team for dinner, and they very tactically raise issues that are going to be brought up the next morning by Steve, because they don't want any issues, by the way. They want to keep Mr. Jobs happy. So then we go back to the hotel after a couple of glasses of wine, and we get onto the UK office to answer all the questions that we think are going to be an issue. And then we re-change all the presentation, which screws me up because I've been rehearsing one way and now I've got to go another way. But anyway, it was fine. And we get escorted into Steve's office, and his executive team are around him and he's in the middle. It's like a Supreme Court moment. And they're talking logistics and commercials and all the maths. It's a very simple yes or no, and then it's my turn. And I would talk about marketing. And I have an opinion, but we can all, you know, as good marketeers, we get lots of opinions, don't we? And I literally thought all my ablutions were going to happen at once, but they didn't. And I present, I'm barely functioning, and he said nothing. He just sat there. And I thought, oh shit, I've really cocked this up. And then he went, I agree. And then I really did think all my ablutions were going to come out, I have to tell you. Anyway, of course, very secretive as we weren't allowed to say anything. We don't say anything in the taxi because we think there's spies. We don't say anything in the airport because we think there's more spies. And then we literally say nothing until the door of the airplane is shut. And then we're jumping up and down like a bunch of loony bins, all three of us. And just after the flight took off and the seatbelt sign came on, Matthew said to me, go and have a look at this. And it was a box. And I sat in the toilet and I took it out. And Steve had given Matthew the first iPhone to see. And I thought, this changes the world. This changes everything. And of course it did. So be scared, but be prepared, I would say. And always just go for it because you've got nothing to lose. So all very polished, perfect. I'm a perfect marketeer. I've never made any mistakes, but Christ, I've got bags of mistakes in my career. And I think failing is a really good thing for us. And I think failing needs to be celebrated. And I am a little bit of an entrepreneur, and I'm going to now talk about dildos. Because, again, at the time when I was really interested in the sex industry, I was just interested, not on a personal level. I was going to say on a personal level, but probably doesn't sound right. At the time, the sex industry was in backstreet shops, and it was run by men, it was made by men, you could see it was being sold by men. It was like, what do you think a girl wants as a toy? I think she wants to look like me, so let's just model that. And let's put a vein down it, and let's make it rubbery, because she's going to love it. And all of a sudden, you had big, pink penises at $12.99, made in China. That's what every girl wants, right, girls? So I decided that I wanted to make vibrators that were jewelry and lovely and handcrafted in the UK. So I launched a company called Shy. And it didn't fail. We were just about to break in America. We've got a few big distribution deals. And Durex came along and shut me down on some trademark infringement, which I could have won if I'd had £1 million in the bank, but I didn't at the time. So I had to close up shop. So don't buy Durex, buy something else. But as an entrepreneur, I really have felt that I wanted to do something that's my own. So I now have the dog treat company. This is God Save the Corgi. And again, we launched that for the Queen's birthday, actually, and the Queen wrote us a letter to tell us she loved them. Really fun names, great branding, but again, very insightful. Dogs are now the children of the family. We're called Mummy and Daddy. They are fed rubbish. They're fed the bottom mass of anything that can roll up into a paste. And a lot of people who are dog owners today want to feed their dogs a lot better. So ours are human grade, liver's a superfood. And we've been doing this for 2 years, my brother and myself. We started cooking at home. Today we have a factory in Devon. We've got 5 staff. We're in about 500 stores in the UK. And we're in 8 countries, waiting for Australia to take us on, actually. Yeah, the Dog Tree Company is my other brilliant work. And the other thing I'd say about that is a Dog Tree Company, if it spends £10,000, it might not be able to pay the payroll next month. Whereas at 3 or at O2, £10,000 is spare change running for the bus. They still have the same value. So my next lesson to you guys is 3 years ago when I left to go to Harvey Nichols. I really wanted to be on a board, and I really wanted to prove that I could be a great marketeer on no money. And I think that's a really good lesson for all of us, because money doesn't buy great work. So when I joined Harvey Nichols, behind in everything, didn't have a loyalty program, and consumers today, if you're going to have brand loyalty, you have to give them something back. Loyalty doesn't come for free, I'm afraid. And I decided that we needed to launch a loyalty program, but we were 10, 15 years behind everybody else. So we did an app, because I'm a tech girl, and I love, bringing new things to life. Customers said to us they wanted quarterly rewards, so we gave them that. And they also wanted experiences as well as a cash voucher. So every quarter, the loyalty app, which we launched, that was the first in the UK, would give you a cash voucher for, say, £50, if that's what you'd earned, and then 3 or 4 experiences next to it, which had a higher retail value, which actually, from a P&L point of view, is actually cheaper for us. So you'd have a blow dry worth £80, which would cost us 20, or a meal for 2 at £85, and that would cost us, in real terms, about 30. And the creative idea was everybody loves a freebie. So it doesn't matter who you are, how rich or how poor you are. If somebody gives you a goodie bag, they can't wait to get outside and ruffle through it and see if there's anything nice for them. And we had no money to launch the program, so we had to find a really creative way of getting our message out there. That was real CCTV footage from our Knightsbridge in Manchester store, and we paid for an animator. Most of it was done in-house. We let it go digitally, and we won a Cannes Grand Prix for Best Film, and it had over 1 million downloads, and none of it paid for, because we had no media budget, because once we paid for the animator, we couldn't do anything else. We'd run out of money. And Harvey Nichols was a fantastic experience for me, because we had nothing. We had literally £1.7 million to do everything. And then Vogue had asked us to take part in their 100th issue. The Duchess of Cambridge was going to be on the front cover. And we were encouraged to be part of it. And product placement is really important for us in publications such as Vogue. So we had to find a way of really standing out on no money. We found Beau outside in a Birmingham local paper. She was celebrating her 100th birthday. We thought, right, she'll do. And we gave her that Dries jacket. That cost us £600. A friend of mine got a photographer over from New York. He wanted to do the shoot, so he said he'd pay for himself. So all in all, that cost us £6,000, and it was a global sensation. In fact, we did a live radio ad for a radio interview with Beau for Australian TV, because we really broke a story about people loving fashion. Doesn't matter how old you are, that's the insight. So when you do things that are insightful and absolutely what customers want to see, we got over £2 million worth of global media off that.